We are heading to New Orleans. I'm very excited. It's nice to see you both. I mean, what is it about New Orleans that made you want this to be your new destination to go in and, find these homes that need a big makeover?
I think most of it was the winters in Detroit kind of finally got to us. We've we've been working a lot in Detroit we'll push through the winters, and it really does start to wear on you after a little bit.
When you're trying to figure out how to paint a house and it's 10 degrees out, then you really start to question your life choices and figure out, how can I make this better?
Yeah. So I, being from the South originally, I left the South. I've always kind of wanted to reconnect with the South. Louisiana is maybe not the first place I would think of for that, but New Orleans definitely is a place that I think is it's kind of perfect for us. It's not necessarily like the rest of Louisiana, and for us that worked really well, but I love it down there. It's really cool.
Now, New Orleans is known for being quite indulgent, lots of food, lots of drinks. Somehow the two of you I know have been on this fitness journey, and you both look very slim and trim. So how did that happen? Because I can't imagine you could go to New Orleans and actually lose weight.
Just have to put down the beignets.
The beignets were very difficult to give up. I will say it was this cycle that we had kind of fallen in again in Detroit, is you really slow down in the winter. I was noticing, every winter I would go up maybe 10, 15 pounds and then work it off in the winter or in the summer, but it was getting to where I was not like getting it all back off, New Orleans definitely in the winter was a lot more active. We biked to work every day. We walked to work a lot of times if it wasn't raining. And it's just like it's a great place to be for the winter. It's definitely an active city, and I will say I love the gym there. It's like we're working out in like Hogwarts or something. It's like really cute. So it's really been kind of a fun way to get back into a health journey. My cholesterol was also off the charts, which was insane for me, considering I drink a gallon of milk a day. So
or he used to.
I used to. Yeah, so I did switch to skim milk too, but anyway, Evan's the workaholic. He works out really hard, and it's hard to keep up with him. I did one of his workouts the other day, and I was like, I am definitely broken. Something is broken. I was doing half weight. I don't know. It was wild. I was like, I am blown away.
So you are, sticking to this fitness routine as well. I mean, what's the secret? Is it just dedication?
Well, you know what? It's sort of interesting. I've never been a super fit person, I don't think, ever in my life. I mean, I've had moments where I played sports back in high school where I was thinner, but I've never been a super fit person. And I think mostly the reason for that is I just didn't really know what it was all about, or what it took to do that. But it turns out Google is a pretty remarkable thing, and pretty much all the info that you could ever want to know, plus way more about fitness and nutrition, is all online. And I just sort of started to do a deep dive once I was seeing myself on television, and I was not enjoying what I was seeing. So I was like, I've got to make a change. So
Evan's a deep diver. So once he gets it in his head he's going to do something, it just turns it into a much bigger thing. People always think I'm the crazy one, but I have the little seedling ideas. New Orleans was my seedling idea, and then Evan kind of was very instrumental in making that move forward. Obviously, we've found the balance in working out and eating better, and trying to be more conscious of it. I feel a lot better about
but we have enjoyed the food.
I will say yes.
Just not, it's not an everyday thing.
No. Not 10 beignets, one. I get it.
Yeah.
I have that problem.
So Bargain Block and Bargain Block New Orleans, the premise is the same, but was your game plan any different, knowing that, because when I think about New Orleans, there's so much architectural history, and these buildings have been around for centuries and beyond. Was the game plan for you to go in and find these places and then fix them up and turn them into, places that are livable and usable? Was that any different than what you do in Detroit?
There were some things that were quite a bit different, actually. For one thing, the prices are just higher. So it's sort of what we do back in Michigan, but just like multiplied by like 2 or 3 times, just in terms of cost. And then there's certain things down there building wise that are different. You know, we are licensed builders back in Michigan, but we're not in Louisiana. So we had to find a licensed builder that we could partner with. So that was different. And then just like a lot of these houses, the foundations are completely trashed, which is very different than Michigan, which you have these old homes back from the 40s, 30s, and 20s that were built really well, and their basements are great. And we never really have to like dig up an entire house. Whereas NOLA, I mean, you are like basically building a brand new house.
The ground. So we've learned so much about the actual city, like topography. So the ground is essentially like a little sponge, and it swells and expands when it takes water, and then it gets dry and it gets smaller. So,
and it's been drying out for apparently like 100 years or 200 years or something, or whenever they started to like pump everything out. So the earth has been literally sinking for like a century. So all these 100-year-old homes are all like crazy and wonked.
The pillars are just literally like, it looks like a circus. It's wild. But we've just learned a lot about things that are hopefully more sustainable too in the construction process, especially we did kind of go through a little bit of a hurricane. Francine, totally. we were really lucky. It was pretty mild, but it definitely is kind of that eye opener of, oh right, we kind of forget that this is a real thing here. And like it makes you think about how the structure is built. You really, if you're going to ride something like that out in it, you want that thing to do well. And that was kind of a good test too. We were in one of the houses that we had finished for the storm, and it was nice to know that, you know, everything held up and we survived it. So
that's great.
But it's different. It's a different world.
Totally. I mean, it's a fun, different world out there, but it's like, I mean, it's so much history. You know, I'm thinking about, you know, the two of you being a couple in real life, working together, but then multiple TV shows now. You know, how has that been navigating the relationships? Like, you know, it's tough to be, you're literally together all the time, but it's great. But it's like, how is the, you know, the TV and the working together, how has that affected the relationship, whether good or you know, things to work on?
I mean, you know, honestly, I feel like we've kind of worked out those kinks like years ago at this point. I mean, we have been spending every waking minute together for a long
decade
time now, actually. So, you know, people always ask us that, and it is, I think, a balance. And we always say that you really have to just learn how to compromise and learn how to take someone else's difficult moment and not take it so like seriously, and just kind of like roll with what's happening. Because if you have a large business, and as the business grows, it becomes more and more complicated. You have wilder days where you have great news and then terrible news and then great news and then life-ending news, and like you have to sort of take that all with a more balanced approach. And I feel like if you don't do that, then your relationship will like explode, and I feel like that's where people get into problems.
The world, like just today, for example, has been an unbelievable roller coaster. We've gotten some of the most life-altering news ever for me, and then moments later we got some of the worst news. And for the business, you know, these are all business items, thankfully. Our personal side, I think that's a big part of why the relationship is okay, is our personal world very calm. Our dog is chill. Home life is really chill. Our business is wild, but we ride those waves on a different one than our personal lives, I think. So, you know, there's that. You have to find those boundaries too, in that balance.
Right. Good words of wisdom. Life-altering news. Are we good? Do you want to share, or is that a surprise for later? What does that mean? Good?
It's a surprise for later. Yeah, you'll definitely hear about it. But yeah, it was like, oh my God, like I cannot believe.
But that's kind of like that happens like every day almost. You'll have these waves of just news that come at you that are really stressful or really happy, and you just have to, like, if you don't learn how to be more even keel with it, it'll just drive you crazy.
You can't let your emotions take you either way. Like you could lose. I am very easily lost in my excitement. So like this morning, I was literally running around, probably why the bad news hit so violently, because the universe was like, this boy has got to calm down. Like, we've got to level him back out. And that's exactly what happened. So, you know, it's just life has gotten bigger in terms of what the calls bring, you know, and you ride that out in different ways.
Well, I'm glad that you have each other for all of the good and the challenges and excitement. But I'm so excited, everyone. Just a reminder that Bargain Block New Orleans is going to be 5 episodes. It's going to be great. I can't wait for you all to see it. And yeah, well, who knows where the next journey will be, but congratulations, you know, and it's so nice to see you.